Alright, guys, I think it's time that we admit it, okay? I know everyone was hyped on Alex, and look, I'm a fan too. I've said it before, the dude is talented, he was fun to watch, he had a fun run, and he's got that following, bro. But if we're gonna be honest, he's probably not winning this Saturday, okay? The odds are stacked against him, and not just on paper. And yeah, sure, there's that argument flowing around. Oh, Alex didn't lock in the first time. He was too busy snapping on Instagram pics and not pulling the trigger. And maybe there's some truth to that. Fighters get distracted. Life happens. I get that. But we can't rewrite what we saw in that first fight. He had moments, but he never grabbed the wheel. Now, we got this added layer of beef, the translator drama back and forth, all that stuff, behind the scenes. And I'll give Alex this. That's the kind of tension sometimes does light a fire under a fighter. And I think he will look sharper. I think he'll make some better adjustments. But even with all that, I still see him coming up short. It's one of those situations where you can root for the guy, enjoy the buildup, and still recognize the reality. Alex is walking into a storm this weekend, and I don't think he's got the umbrella for it, okay? And hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he pulls it off. He pulls off the upset and makes me eat my own words. If that happens, I'll film the apology video in 4K, with the sad piano music in the background, the one that's like din 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 din. Here's the other thing we gotta really talk about. The numbers don't exactly back Alex up here. Historically, when a fighter loses the first fight, they don't usually come back and flip the script in the rematch. In the UFC, the first fight winner takes the rematch around like 62, 63% of the time. That means that the loser only comes back and gets it done about 30 to 40% of the time. So yeah, it's not impossible. Fighters have pulled it off before, but the odds lean heavy towards history repeating itself. And that's probably the hard truth about this fight. You see, one of the biggest problems for Alex is that Ank basically muted his left hand in that first fight. That's Alex's money shot right there. That left hand is supposed to be the lottery ticket, and Ank just canceled it like Netflix after the free trial. Ank's defense was sharp, high guard, stand switches, little parries, making Alex second guess every time he tried to let his hands go. And listen, man, once a guy starts shutting down your bread and butter, it's not just about the punch anymore, it's about the confidence. You can see Alex hesitating. Instead of firing in combinations, he's loading up, thinking, waiting for that one perfect opening that just never really came. Meanwhile, Ank's just sitting there cool as ice, man, reminding him that the setup that he's using to hit other dudes with isn't gonna land here. And that's a nightmare for a power striker, because if the other guy could neutralize your best weapon and make you doubt it, now you're in his world. You're playing catch up. You're trying to force moments instead of letting them come naturally. And over 5 rounds, that is exhausting. And then you really add in the cage control. That's where Ank really starts banking rounds. He's not just out here, throwing crazy ass highlight reel stuff every exchange, but he doesn't need to. He just needs to keep Alex in a spot where he can't make him go fully loose. And that's against the fence. Clinch breaks, little trips, little rides, all that stuff. All that stuff eats time. And the other part that people forget about, Alex's low kicks. He actually lands a bunch of them in the first fight. Almost 30 by the numbers. So it's not like they didn't connect. But here's the catch, man. As the fight went on, Ank started to make them way less effective. The forward pressure, the clinch work, the cage control, all of that eats away at space. Alex needs to really make those kicks dangerous. So yeah, they landed, but they didn't swing the fight. Once Ank pushed him towards the fence and started dictating the position, Alex's kicks weren't opening up the rest of his game the way they usually do. And that's huge, because the kicks are normally the setups for the left hand, for the combo, for everything else. If Ank is able to make those just another strike on the stat sheet instead of a fight chaining weapon, Alex's left is trying to solve the puzzle without his favorite pieces, okay? And then you've got the defense and speed factor, which honestly might be the most underrated part of Ank's whole game. People look at him and think, oh, he's just a big, strong, light heavyweight, kind of flat-footed, just wants to wrestle and clinch. But go rewatch the tape. He's a lot sharper than he gets credit for. His defense is tight, his head movement is subtle, but effective, okay? And he's just quick enough to make those exchanges super frustrating. avoiding. And you could see that in the first fight, man. The first fight was a perfect example, okay? You could see Alex loading up, trying to set traps, trying to fire that left hand down the pipe, and Ank either slides out of range, caught it on his guard, or forced Alex to reset. And here's the thing, man. When you're a knockout artist like Alex, you need a guy to give you the opening eventually. That's the rhythm that he's built his whole career on. You know, the jab, chop the legs, pressure, and eventually they start giving him something clean to detonate with. But Ank is not giving him any of that. Ank is patient. He doesn't overextend. He doesn't, get greedy in exchanges. He keeps everything neat and safe. And that's what makes Alex second guess himself. Instead of letting his hands go in combinations, Alex is standing there looking for the perfect moment. And that's the trap, man. That is the trap, because while he's waiting for the perfection, Ank is banking on minutes, controlling space, and sneaking ahead on the scorecards. And that's where the speed difference sneaks in. Ank doesn't look like a fast guy when you watch him, shadow boxing or move around, but in exchanges, he beats you to the spot. It's like Alex is throwing a bigger punch, and Ank is already gone, or worse, already touching him up with something lighter, but scoring. Over 5 rounds, that's maddening, okay? It's like trying to swat a fly that somehow knows your timing better than you do. So why won't Alex find more success this time? Because Ank's not the kind of guy who's going to leave the same doors open twice. He already showed that he can neutralize the left hand. He already showed that he can make those low kicks less effective by pressing forward. And with that defense disability, Ank doesn't give Alex enough cracks in his armor to change the story. Unless Alex somehow lands a nuclear punch, okay? He's stuck playing a fight where Ank's controlling the pace, the optics, and the scorecards. When Ank wasn't even firing on all cylinders, what's going to be different this time? Another thing that makes this such a tough fight for Alex is the way Ank was able to force you into a single shot. Alex at his best isn't just a one-punch guy. Yeah, that left hand is the headline, but usually he builds to it, okay? He mixes in some low kicks, the jab to the body, maybe a left hook to the body, then boom, straight upstairs. It's those layers that break guys, but Ank, he can't really do that with. The threat of the level change, the consistent stance switches, the way Ank sits behind that high guard, the takedown threat, it makes Alex pick his shots. He's not going to be chaining combinations. He's just waiting for that one golden moment. And when you're forced to play that game, your percentage goes way down. It's kind of like when a gamer is used to spamming combos and suddenly the opponent is just blocking everything. Now you're down to the jabs and hoping for counters. And Ank does that in real time, okay? He makes a guy who's usually dynamic look like a guy who's running on one idea. And that's the death sentence in a 5-rounder. So unless Alex somehow finds a way to unlock that full toolbox, which Ank has already proved that he can lock up, we're looking at the same dynamic repeat. Ank's style is basically the antidote to what makes Alex so dangerous. And I already know what you guys are going to say. Dude, Friction, man, he's being biased, bro. And to be honest, I'm not being biased. I'm just being a truther. This is the truth. You guys just can't handle the truth. But let's be fair here, okay? If Alex is going to win this fight, there's a path, okay? It's not easy, but it's there. And it starts with disguising that left hand. Last time, Ank read it like a children's book, okay? Every time Ank loaded up, Ank either slid out, blocked, or reset it. This time, Alex can't be so obvious. He's got to use feints, pump the jab, attack the body, and keep Ank honest with those other weapons. So when that left hand finally comes, it's hidden in the mix. Because if Ank sees it coming, it's a waste shot. But if he can bury it behind layers, that's when the damage starts to add up. Then you got to add in the leg kicks. I mean, Alex landed close to 30 of them in the first fight, which is a lot. But the problem was that they didn't shift the fight. Ank walked through them, pressured him, and took away the time Alex needed to build off them. So what does the adjustment have to do? He's got to keep those kicks dangerous into the later rounds. Not just calf kicks on the repeat, but mix them up. Inner thigh, obliques, even low to going high. If he can keep Ank second guessing with those leg kicks, it forces Ank to reset more and maybe even slow down his entries. But here is the biggest key. Alex cannot afford to get stuck on the fence again. Ank controlled nearly the entire third of that fight with clinches and pressure. People love to say, oh, just circle around, just underhook. But even Jose freaking Aldo got stuck on the cage by Murad for 3 rounds. And later, it was freaking Mario Batista. If Aldo couldn't get free, you know it's not just a skill issue. It's a real problem. And it's one that Alex has to prepare for. He's got to drill those escapes, punish Ank with knees and elbows when he's pressing in, and absolutely refuse to let those moments slip away from him. Because if he doesn't, it's going to be deja vu. Another thing he has to force Ank to fight in volume. Ank's whole style is about being safe, being patient, and baking rounds. If Alex lets him stay in gear, it's over. He's got to pressure back, throw combinations, and make Ank uncomfortable. Even if that means risking a takedown attempt. It's better than sitting there and waiting. The only way Alex is going to win this is by forcing Ank out of his comfort zone, making him fight a pace that he doesn't want to. And lastly, Alex needs a clear moment. Not just a sneaky little jab or a leg kick. I'm talking about visible damage. Judges side with the guy who looks like he's winning. He's got to wobble Ank. He's got to at least drop him or at least makes it obvious when he lands, because Ank is so good at winning rounds with the optics, holding the center, controlling the cage, that Alex has to steal back with undeniable highlights. So yeah, there is a roadmap. It's faint, don't get me wrong, but it's there. If Alex can disguise the left hand, keep the kicks alive, stay off the fence, push Ank into the volume, and create big moments for the judges, then yeah, he can win. But man, that's a tall order. He's basically got to be sharp for 25 minutes straight against a guy who makes a very few mistakes. And even if he does all that, I still doubt it, because Ank's style is built to smother exactly that kind of effort. But if Alex pulls it off, that's not just a win, that's one of the biggest adjustments we've ever seen in a UFC rematch. So yeah, Alex can win, but he's got to fight the fight of his life. And honestly, I just don't see Ank letting that happen. We'll find out this Saturday, but until then, I've got my money on history repeating itself, okay?